It was a cold, dark night, and the rain was coming down in a relentless torrent. I sat in my dimly lit apartment, stomach growling, contemplating my decision to order a late-night meal. The promise of hot, greasy comfort food had won over any concerns I had about going out in this weather. Little did I know that this decision would lead me down a sinister and terrifying path. I picked up my phone and scrolled through the food delivery app, searching for something that would satisfy my late-night cravings. After a few minutes, I settled on a local pizzeria known for its mouth-watering slices and speedy delivery. With a few taps on my screen, I placed my order and eagerly awaited the arrival of my dinner. As the minutes ticked by, I grew more impatient. The sound of raindrops pelting my window became a relentless drumbeat, matching the rhythm of my anxiety. I checked the app and the delivery status still showed preparing. Frustration gnawed at me as I realized this would be a longer wait than I had anticipated. Finally, a notification pinged on my phone. The delivery had been assigned to a driver named Eddie. I sighed with relief, thankful that my food was on its way. The estimated delivery time was 30 minutes, which felt like an eternity in my hungry state. I occupied myself with mindless scrolling on social media, trying to ignore the eerie quiet that had settled over my apartment. The rain outside had intensified, creating a disconcerting backdrop to the silence. I couldn't help but feel a growing unease, a feeling that something was not quite right. After what felt like hours, another notification flashed on my phone. The message was simple: "Your food has arrived." I was relieved that my hunger was about to be satisfied, but a sense of unease still clung to me like a shadow. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. I opened it to find Eddie, the delivery driver, standing on my doorstep soaked to the bone. Rainwater dripped from his cap, and his uniform clung to his frame. His appearance was unsettling, but I brushed it off as the result of the relentless downpour. "Sorry about the weather," he mumbled, handing over the pizza boxes. I could barely see his face under the hood of his rain-soaked jacket. I thanked him and took the pizza, the warm aroma wafting up to greet me. As I closed the door, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about Eddie. His demeanor had been strange, almost distant. I carried the pizza to my kitchen, my hunger outweighing my unease. I eagerly opened the boxes, the scent of melted cheese and pepperoni filling the air. But as I took my first bite, my appetite vanished. The pizza tasted strange, off-kilter in a way I couldn't quite put my finger on. It had a bitter aftertaste that left a metallic tang in my mouth. I spat out the bite, my stomach churning in protest. I examined the pizza closely, but it appeared normal. There were no visible signs of anything wrong with it. I chalked it up to my heightened anxiety and decided to call the pizzeria to complain about the taste. As I dialed the number, I noticed something odd out of the corner of my eye. Through the window, I saw Eddie standing in the pouring rain, still on my doorstep. He hadn't moved an inch since delivering the pizza. My heart began to race as I considered the bizarre situation. Why was he just standing there, staring at my door? I could feel his gaze, even from a distance, and it sent a shiver down my spine. The pizzeria's phone rang unanswered, and I felt a growing sense of dread. I decided to confront Eddie and ask him to leave. I opened the door and stepped out onto the porch. "Eddie, is there something you need?" I called out over the sound of the rain. He didn't respond, didn't even acknowledge my presence. He just stood there, his hooded head tilted slightly to the side, as if listening to something only he could hear. "Hey," I shouted, my voice quivering with unease. "You need to leave." Still, there was no response. I took a step closer, my heart pounding, and that's when I saw it. Underneath Eddie's hood, his eyes were entirely black, like two empty voids staring back at me. Panic surged through me, and I stumbled backward into my apartment, slamming and locking the door. My mind raced as I tried to make sense of what I had just witnessed. Those eyes had been inhuman, unnatural. I grabbed my phone and called the police, telling them about the strange delivery and the unsettling encounter with Eddie. They assured me they would send an officer to check on the situation, but the wait felt agonizingly long. I sat in my apartment, the unease and fear growing with every passing minute. The rain outside had become a torrential downpour, and the sound of it drumming against the windows only added to my anxiety. The arrival of the police. I rushed to open it, eager for their help. But as I swung the door open, I was met with an empty door. Eddie was gone, as if he had never been there. The police conducted a thorough search of the area, but found no trace of the delivery driver. They took my statement and left, unable to explain what had happened. I was left with a sense of unease that would haunt me for years to come. I never ordered food for delivery again, and the memory of those black eyes still keeps me up at night. I started to hunger and terror, and I can't help but wonder what would have happened if I had taken another bite of that strange pizza.